Welcome to today's story. We're going to dive into the incredible life of Cleopatra, the last queen of ancient Egypt. This isn't just a history lesson, it's a tale of power, love, and ambition. Cleopatra's story is filled with adventure and drama, making her one of the most famous women in history. Relax, get comfortable, and enjoy the journey while improving your English with this fascinating story. Chapter 1: Cleopatra's Early Years. Over 2,000 years ago, in the year 69 BCE, a girl named Cleopatra was born in Alexandria, Egypt. She would grow up to be one of the most famous women in history. But before she became a queen, Cleopatra was just a child with big dreams. Cleopatra was born into a royal family, the Ptolemaic dynasty, which ruled Egypt at the time. Her family wasn't originally from Egypt, they were from Greece. Her ancestor, Ptolemy I, had been a general under the great leader, Alexander the Great. After Alexander died, Ptolemy became the ruler of Egypt. Cleopatra's father, King Ptolemy XII, was the king when she was born. Cleopatra grew up with a lot of luxury. She had fine clothes, servants to help her, and a great education. But life as a royal wasn't always easy. There were many struggles for power, and sometimes family members even fought and killed each other to become the ruler. Cleopatra had a deep love for learning. In a time when many girls weren't given the opportunity to study, Cleopatra's education was prioritized by her family. She spent long hours reading, writing, and learning from the best tutors. Her intellectual curiosity led her to become fluent in several languages, including Greek, Latin, Egyptian, and Hebrew. It's said that Cleopatra could speak at least 7 languages, a remarkable feat for someone her age. This knowledge gave her an advantage in dealing with different cultures and political situations, which would later help her as a ruler. Besides languages, Cleopatra also studied subjects like science, math, history, and politics. She wasn't content with just learning the basics. She wanted to understand the world deeply. Cleopatra's goal was to be a strong, wise queen, known for her intelligence and leadership, not just for her beauty. She believed that a ruler needed to be smart and capable, not just someone who wore a crown. In addition to her intelligence, Cleopatra was incredibly charming. She had a captivating voice and a presence that could capture anyone's attention. It's said that her voice was mesmerizing and could make people listen to her every word. But despite her many strengths, her childhood wasn't without struggles. Her father, King Ptolemy XII, was not a strong ruler, and many Egyptians didn't respect him. He was seen as weak, and there were even rumors that he mismanaged the country's resources, spending too much money on luxuries. As a result, there were many challenges for Cleopatra and her family. At times, Cleopatra's family was forced to leave Egypt to protect themselves from those who sought to take power from them. These experiences shaped her into a strong and determined young woman, preparing her for the challenges she would face as queen. When Cleopatra was 14 years old, her mother died, and some believe she was murdered. Soon after, her father became very sick, and Cleopatra had to get ready to become the ruler of Egypt. Although she was still young, Cleopatra was ready to be queen. What made her different from other rulers was her deep love and respect for Egypt. Even though her family was from Greece, Cleopatra learned the Egyptian language and culture. She called herself the goddess Isis, an important figure in Egyptian religion. Chapter 2: Cleopatra becomes queen. Cleopatra was just 18 years old when her father, King Ptolemy XII, passed away. According to his will, Cleopatra was meant to become the Queen of Egypt. However, the will also stated that she had to share the throne with her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII, who was only 10 years old at the time. While Cleopatra was highly educated, strong-willed, and determined to rule, her brother was too young and inexperienced to truly understand the complexities of leadership. Cleopatra believed that she was more capable of ruling than her brother, and she wasn't interested in sharing the power. At first, Cleopatra tried to work alongside her brother, but things quickly began to fall apart. The advisors around them didn't support Cleopatra and began to side with Ptolemy XIII. They saw Cleopatra as a threat to their power, and soon, they started plotting against her. Cleopatra found herself in a dangerous situation, and it wasn't long before she had to flee the palace and go into hiding. Imagine being the queen of a great kingdom, but with no home to call your own. Despite this, Cleopatra didn't let this setback defeat her. She was determined to reclaim her throne, no matter what. She knew she couldn't do it alone. Cleopatra needed help from someone who had the power and resources to support her. That's when a Roman general named Julius Caesar arrived in Egypt. Caesar was one of the most powerful men in the world at the time, and Cleopatra saw him as the key to regaining her throne. But she knew she needed to meet him in a way that would make an impression. Cleopatra was known for her intelligence, and she quickly came up with a bold and clever plan. She had one of her servants hide her inside a large carpet, and when the carpet was delivered to Julius Caesar, Cleopatra emerged from it. Caesar was both shocked and impressed by her daring move. Cleopatra explained the situation to him, how her brother and his advisors had forced her out, and how she needed his help to take back her throne. Caesar, seeing both her courage and determination, agreed to help Cleopatra. Together, they worked out a plan to defeat her enemies and restore her as Queen of Egypt. With Caesar's military support, they won a crucial battle against Cleopatra's rivals. Once the dust had settled, Cleopatra was once again crowned Queen of Egypt. But Cleopatra didn't stop there. She used her newfound power to strengthen Egypt. Working alongside Caesar, she made significant improvements to the kingdom. She focused on enhancing trade, improving the economy, and creating new laws to benefit her people. With Caesar's backing, Cleopatra was able to build Egypt into an even stronger and more prosperous nation, securing her position as one of history's most remarkable rulers. Chapter 3: Cleopatra and Julius Caesar. Cleopatra had successfully reclaimed her throne, but her work was far from finished. Now that she was queen again, she had big dreams for Egypt's future. She wanted to make her kingdom stronger and more powerful than ever before, and she knew that Julius Caesar could help her achieve those goals. But their relationship wasn't purely political, it also grew into something much more personal. Cleopatra and Caesar's connection was both one of mutual respect and deep affection. After Cleopatra's victory, the two grew very close. Even though Caesar was much older than Cleopatra, their bond was undeniable. Cleopatra, who was smart, ambitious, and full of charm, admired Caesar for his remarkable leadership. Caesar, in turn, had a deep respect for Cleopatra's intelligence, resourcefulness, and ability to lead her people. They spent a lot of time together in the Egyptian city of Alexandria, enjoying each other's company and discussing matters of state. Over time, their professional relationship blossomed into a romantic one, and Caesar began to truly fall in love with Cleopatra. In 47 BCE, Cleopatra's life took another turn when she became pregnant with Caesar's child. She gave birth to a son, whom they named Ptolemy Caesar, but he would be better known by the name Caesarion. Cleopatra saw her son as a symbol of the unity between Egypt and Rome. She hoped that Caesarion would one day serve as a bridge between the two great powers of the ancient world, helping to unite Egypt and Rome in ways that would strengthen both empires. However, their happiness was not meant to last forever. While Cleopatra and Caesar's relationship flourished, many in Rome were not as thrilled about it. There were rumors that Cleopatra was trying to influence and control the Roman Empire, which made some Romans nervous. They feared her growing presence and influence over their leader. In the face of rising tension, Caesar made the difficult decision to return to Rome. Cleopatra, not wanting to be separated from him, decided to travel with him, bringing Caesarion along. When Cleopatra arrived in Rome in 46 BCE, her presence was nothing short of a spectacle. She made a grand entrance, traveling in golden chariots, with an entourage of servants and even exotic animals. It was a dramatic and unforgettable display of wealth and power. Yet, despite her grandeur, Cleopatra didn't receive a warm welcome from everyone. Roman women, in particular, disliked her presence. They found her very different from the Roman ideal of a woman, and they were suspicious of her influence over Caesar. During her stay in Rome, Cleopatra lived in luxury, but her situation was complicated. Caesar, who had been named dictator for life, had complete control over the Roman government. Cleopatra hoped that this declaration would solidify their relationship and make it easier for her to maintain a strong connection with Rome. However, while Cleopatra's status and influence were growing, not everyone in Rome was pleased with Caesar's growing power. As time passed, tensions in Rome continued to rise. Many of the Roman senators were unhappy with Caesar's absolute control over the Republic. They feared that his rule would lead to the end of the Roman system of government and that he would become a dictator who ruled over all. As a result, a group of senators began plotting against Caesar, and their fears came to a tragic head in 44 BCE when Caesar was assassinated. The senators, led by Brutus and Cassius, struck on the Ides of March, killing Caesar in the Senate. Cleopatra was devastated by Caesar's death. She had lost not only her lover, but also her most powerful ally. With Caesar gone, Cleopatra returned to Egypt to reassert control over her kingdom, but she knew that she couldn't maintain her power without rebuilding strong alliances, especially with Rome. In the wake of Caesar's assassination, Cleopatra turned to another powerful figure for support, Mark Antony, one of Caesar's closest allies. Cleopatra's story teaches us that no matter how tough life becomes, we have the power to stay strong and fight for what we believe in. She never gave up on her dreams or on the people of her country. In a world where women were often seen as less important, Cleopatra showed everyone that women can be powerful leaders, wise thinkers, and brave warriors. Even though her life came to a tragic end, her legacy still shines brightly. It reminds us that, like her, we can face obstacles with strength and determination. Cleopatra's journey inspires us to always believe in ourselves, never back down from our dreams, and take control of our own future. Her life wasn't easy, but she faced each challenge with courage, wisdom, and dignity. She proved that even in the darkest times, we can rise above and keep pushing forward. Let Cleopatra's story be a reminder to you to be bold, to dream without limits, and to never let fear stop you from pursuing what's important to you. Her life was filled with both struggles and triumphs, but it was also full of love, hope, and greatness. Just like Cleopatra, we all have the potential to make an impact in the world, if we're brave enough to face challenges and never give up. What do you think of her incredible journey? Isn't Cleopatra's story one of the most inspiring stories in history? Let her life remind you that no matter how tough life gets, you have the strength and power to rise above it and achieve your own greatness.